Welcome back to Accelerated Hypnotherapy. In this video, we're going to talk about what happens in your brain after you've experienced trauma. Like, what is going on up there that makes me feel so stuck? My name is Liana West. I've been the voice of this channel, although I have not been on camera. But I am now to prove to you that I am not just another AI-generated voice. One of the reasons that I was hiding out was because I used to stutter. And the first time that I recorded something, it took 5 minutes, but it took me 5 hours to edit that freaking thing because there were no AI apps back in the day to remove filler words or retakes. So I had to do everything manually. And I decided to go to a school for kids who can't talk good. It was a course that was 100 hours. And in that course, I met these amazing men that were experiencing real difficulty in their lives because they couldn't speak fluently. We did these exercises, like we had to go up to a stranger and ask them for directions. And that's like no problem, but it was hard for them to do that because of their stutter. And I felt bad because I was there to work on my fluency for podcasting. So if you stutter or know someone who stutters, I feel like I can fix your stutter with hypnotherapy without you having to take a 100-hour course and take all that time out of your life. So stay to the end because I will have a special gift for you. Now let's take a look at what happens to your brain when you've experienced trauma and why you feel so stuck in that experience. You might even be feeling hopeless. You might have lost a sense of yourself. You might even be afraid and not be able to move on. To understand this, we have to first look at what's happening in your brain when it takes an experience and turns it into a memory. Let's look at what happens with normal memories and how those are created. When you have an experience, your brain processes it and it puts it in an order. It figures out what was the beginning, what was the middle, what was the end, and there's a timeline. It puts words around it. It gives you this narrative so that you can communicate what happened to somebody else. And then it puts the story in the past tense so that when you file it away into your memory and then pull it back out, you understand that it is a story that happened in the past. And it's in a logical order. The pieces are in context so that people can understand what you're talking about. And you both understand that the story occurred in the past tense because your brain has done all that processing to put the experience and change it into a memory and file it away with all the other memories. But when you have a traumatic experience, your brain becomes so overwhelmed that it's not able to process the memory. It's like your brain drops the ball and that experience shatters into fragments. So there's no cohesion, there's no context. You're not sure what the timeline is because these pieces aren't fitting together. They're just scattered everywhere. And that part of the brain that puts words around the experience hasn't been able to do that. So it might even be difficult to talk about what's happened. And when you talk about what's happening, it will most likely revivify the experience like you're reliving it over again as you're telling the story. So you'll feel those same feelings that you did when you were going through that original experience because it will still be in the present tense because your brain hasn't been able to logically process a timeline and figure out where all the pieces go and make sense of it so that your whole brain and your body understands that this experience happened in the past. Instead, what will happen is you will have vivid flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and intense bad feelings in your body, as if the experience was happening again. It will be like a playlist on random repeat, and it will hijack your here and now. It might cause you to lose sense of yourself because it keeps taking away the present moment from you. You might become hopeless because the past is actually out there in your future. And you don't have these memories. These memories have you, and they are occurring to you as if they are happening in the present moment. This is why we feel stuck after we've experienced trauma, because every time the brain tries to go and deal with the processing of that experience, it becomes so overwhelmed that it's not able to do its job like it does with other memories. And that's why people tend to stay stuck in trauma. It's like when you experience that traumatic thing, your brain caught on fire, and now you're in this burning building. You're in this room that's filled with smoke, and you can't find your way out of that room. And with trauma, you actually need someone who knows how to get you out of the building and back to safety, to come in and actually show you the way out. One of my clients had been experiencing massive workplace trauma. She was working on a cruise ship, so she couldn't even go home at the end of the night. She just had to stay in that toxic environment for probably months at a time. And she did that for years. And then when she finally quit and came up for air, her brain caught on fire. And she was going to take a year off and travel, but she was so overwhelmed because the trauma had caught up to her when she stopped for that 1 minute. And all she could do was just sit in bed. She found that she couldn't even do basic tasks around the house, like chores and cleaning. When I met her, she had been in the state for a couple of months, and we had some sessions together, and somewhere in between the second and third session, she was at home. She got up out of bed and she cleaned her place from top to bottom, front to back, and she even redecorated this area of her house that she hadn't been able to touch for a couple of years because she had associated it with something that was traumatic that had happened. If your brain is on fire from trauma, this might be why nothing that you're doing is working. Like maybe you've gone through therapy for years and you have tried every type of therapy known to mankind, and you still can't get across the line, and you still feel stuck in that experience of trauma. Now you understand that for these things to work, your brain has to actually be able to process these traumatic memories and get them out of the here and now and put them into the past tense. And to do this, your brain has to actually cool down. It has to calm the down so that it can work on the experience and put all those little fragments together and make a complete picture of what happened in the past with a timeline, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it has to put it into the past tense so that your brain understands that this is just a memory. It's not actually happening here and now. When you're able to do this, the neuroscience term for this is integration. So that when your brain is able to integrate all those fragments and put them together, put them into the past, and then file them away into memory, it'll feel like that experience has happened in the past. And every day you'll feel like it's further and further away. If this makes sense, drop a fire emoji in the comments. And if you've been stuck in trauma, or you stutter or know someone who stutters, I'm going to put a link in the description for a free clarity session. And I hope to hear from you. Subscribe and like this video for more content on what's going on in your brain when you experience trauma. And let's connect on the next one.